Morning. You guys ready? So my name is Captain Ron Mead, and I'm the District 2 Commander for Field Operations here in King County. And I'm going to brief you on the series of shootings we had the night of December 6th. And the,
I'm sorry, can you spell your first name?
I'm sorry, Ron Mead, R-O-N-M-E-A-D.
And your rank again?
I'm a captain with the Washington State Patrol.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to briefly provide some overview that I think most of you already have in previous press releases on the events of December 6th that led to an arrest last night. So starting at about 9:20 p.m. December 6th, we received reports that an individual had been shot southbound I-5 at South 320th. About 22 minutes later at 9:42, we received an additional report of a separate shooting that occurred northbound I-5 near South 200th. Both of these incidents provided a vehicle description that eerily matched one another. There was a subsequent shooting at 10:27 p.m. southbound 167 near Ellingson. No injuries were reported, and that incident did not have a description of the suspect vehicle. There was a subsequent shooting about 11:30 southbound I-5 near South 320th. The victim, no victim was injured, but the vehicle did sustain a gunshot. And the suspect vehicle in that incident was described as a gray mid-2000s pickup, which led us to believe that was not associated with the first three shootings. Subsequent to the press release going out yesterday, 2 additional victims came forward, indicating they had been victims of shootings on our freeway system. The first occurred about 9 p.m. on State Route 518 to southbound I-5, and a bullet hole was found in that vehicle, but fortunately nobody was injured. Also in the South Center area of southbound I-5 between 9 and 10 p.m., an additional victim came forward, being shooting number 6, indicating they had been a victim. No injuries, again, fortunately occurred in that incident, and we did not have a description of the suspect vehicle. The suspect vehicle was identified based on descriptions from the first 2 victims, traffic cameras in the city of Tukwila, and an alert from multiple flock systems, both in the city of Auburn and Tukwila. And through the tireless work of our WSP detectives, we were able to develop a vehicle of interest. Law enforcement agencies countywide have been alerted to the description of the vehicle and the suspect. Shortly after 10:30 p.m. last night, troopers received information the vehicle was in the Auburn area, and they were actively looking for the vehicle in that area. They located it a short time later, parked near a residence in Auburn. Followed a short time, about 6 minutes after they located the vehicle, the individual left the residence in the vehicle. A traffic stop was conducted and the driver was placed in custody without incident. When they contacted the vehicle after the arrest, troopers observed from outside the vehicle a semi-automatic handgun, loose ammunition, and a spent shell casing in the back of the vehicle. The vehicle was impounded and placed into our evidence system and is awaiting further analysis from our crime scene response team. The suspect was interviewed and booked into the King County Jail for investigation of drive-by shooting and assault first degree. The suspect was identified as Marco Antonio Ramos Valdez, a 28-year-old male from Auburn. The investigation is continuing into all of these shootings. I think it's important to point out that we were aided in this investigation by really 4 important things. First of all, victims that were able to provide detailed descriptions of both the vehicle and the suspect. Dedicated and committed investigators committed to seeking justice for the victims and to prevent further harm to the public. Technology, including traffic cameras and flock systems, that provided further investigative leads on both a vehicle of interest and where the vehicle may be located, or the area that may be located. And finally, and really the most importantly, the alertness and skill of 2 uniformed troopers that ultimately located the vehicle and were able to safely take the suspect into custody. We have every reason to believe that when these troopers saw the vehicle leaving the residence last night, he was leaving to go commit another series of shootings. I have no doubt that directly because of the tireless work of our detectives and the actions of these uniformed troopers and information from our allied partners, that there were no further victims last night. Further investigative work remains, including awaiting ballistic results that may connect the suspect beyond the 2 shootings we have him arrested for to other shootings, both that we're investigating and additional shootings that allied agencies may be investigating. In my view, the suspect's actions the night of December 6th met the very definition of an active shooter, rather than shooting in a confined space that we're accustomed to. He used our freeway system to commit carnage, cause injury, and create fear among the people using our transportation system. And with that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Anything related to the suspect and the next steps, I'll defer to the prosecutor's office, but any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any indication as to a motive?
No, no. Listen, you're trying to rationalize something that's irrational. The notion that somebody's going to go and just randomly fire upon people on the freeway system is something that we're just not accustomed to, particularly in this volume. I mean, we have shootings, and I think we're at 48 shootings year to date on our freeway system, but they're usually random. They're usually triggered by some interaction or trouble on the freeway. The notion that we have somebody just randomly shooting at random people is just not something we've experienced. And frankly, had the 2 victims that didn't come forward until yesterday come forward that night, we likely would have connected that we have, really far more than a random incident, but a series of incidents that we could have better responded to.
So you have no indication that anyone here was targeted, any vehicle was targeted, it was just...
The best information we have is that these were completely random events, that nothing precipitated these events, and which is unusual. That's the unusual piece to this, because usually there's some sort of aggression or improper lane change or something that somebody takes personal. There's no information that any of these people were targeted. They're just random events that somebody chose to use our freeway system to inflict carnage and create mayhem. So,
Can you rule any of the shootings out as not being connected to the man you arrested of the 6 that we had?
yeah, the one southbound at 320th appears to be unrelated. The timing is poor, but the suspect vehicle differs significantly from the other 2 where we had a solid description. There are 2 that nobody has a description of. I'm sorry, there's 3 that nobody has a description of the vehicle or driver. So,
And can you explain how the flock system worked in this case, how it helped?
well, the flock system, so I don't completely understand how the system works, but I do know that the flock system is systems that are used by various police agencies throughout the county. Not every agency, but many jurisdictions have them. And we put in information that we're looking for, whether it's a vehicle description, a plate, something, and then it'll alert that the vehicle is in a particular area, which gives us sort of a starting point. And that's what happened last night in Auburn, was an alert from the flock system that we had a vehicle of interest that we were looking for that was in the Auburn area. And then it really boils down to old-fashioned police work and just saturating an area and finding a suspect vehicle. So.
The casing you found in the car last night, does that match anything?
So we're awaiting.
found at the site?
So we're awaiting ballistic results and execution of the search warrant on the vehicle.
So just to confirm, the suspect that was arrested was tied to those first 2 shootings in that light blue Nissan Z?
That's correct. While we're confident that we'll tie him to additional shootings, we've not yet done anything with the others, just the first 2 that we have some probable cause for.
Does the,
Go ahead.
okay, does the suspect have like a past criminal history?
That I don't know, and even if I did, I could not release it. So
Any reason to believe anyone else was involved or anyone else was in the car with the suspect when this happened?
all indications are the suspect acted alone, and why he chose to do what he did, I think the investigation will hopefully determine. But you know, I don't want to leave here by pretending that we're going to rationalize this irrational behavior. Why somebody would choose to take a firearm and just randomly shoot people on the freeway is mind-boggling, troubling, and you know, hopefully it remains isolated.
Do
So
we know if those legal firearms were legally possessed or purchased?
those remain a part of the investigation. So
I want to talk about, person was injured here, right? It was just one person injured.
fortunately, listen, fortunately, we're very fortunate here. We could have had far greater carnage as a result of these. I mean, we know of 6 vehicles, but 5 vehicles we believe associated with this vehicle that were shot. And all of the vehicles had bullet rounds hit it. We're fortunate that only 1 round hit a person in the vehicle. And we're fortunate that that person that was shot in the neck, that the injuries were not life-threatening. I mean, we all expect to leave wherever we're leaving and drive on our freeway system and get there safely. Up until now, the biggest threat to that really was people making irresponsible choices that would cause some sort of a car crash, a collision. None of us are accustomed to, nor should we have to fear driving on the freeway and just be randomly targeted and shot by somebody for no reason at all. Listen, there's no acceptable reason where use of a firearm on a freeway system is appropriate. Let's just be clear about that. But the notion that with the randomness of these series of events and what we believe to be a series of events that were interrupted by the arrest last night, I mean, I think that's an important key. We have every belief that he was going out to commit another series of these events. And so
What leads you to that belief?
I'll let the court system play out on that. So
The victim who was shot in the neck, do you have an update on that?
last I heard that he was stable and expected to make a recovery.
Can you provide the suspect's name one more time?
I can. It's Marco Antonio Ramos, Ramos, Valdez, Valdez. He's 28 years old and lives in Auburn.
Is WSP actively looking for the gray pickup as they did the blue Nissan from the previous night?
Yes. Listen, as I said, we've had 48 shootings year to date. Many of those shootings, unfortunately, we don't have many leads in. But every time we have a lead in one of these shootings, we follow every lead that we can with the hope of holding the person accountable, to person responsible to account. I mean, so all of these freeway shootings are a high priority for us. Every one of them are investigated by detectives, and we look for correlation between them and other shootings, not just in King County, but as we know, we have a very mobile society, and what occurs here also affects the freeway system in Pierce County, and what happens in Pierce County also affects the freeway system in Snohomish County. So the important part that I really want to leave with is we take the safety of the freeway system, whether it's from impaired drivers are making poor choices, or people that are creating mayhem like they did Wednesday night, very serious, and we're going to expend every resource to ensure, to the extent that we can, that the freeway system's safe and the people that are creating carnage and causing harm to others are held accountable.
Just for context, you said 48 to date. Do you know what last year was?
It was 54.
Can you kind of describe, I mean, freeway shooting, was this 2 cars that are in motion at freeway speed, one shooting at another, out the side of the window, to the back of a car? I mean,
Well, you saw I think we sent a photo out, that the vehicles were just driving down the freeway. And so, you know, which probably lessened the likelihood that, I mean, listen, 5 vehicles shot, only 1 driver was hit. You know, shooting at a moving vehicle is obviously, I assume, challenging. I've never done it, and but the notion that yes, they're just going down the road. I mean, that round incapacitates the driver. Then we have a 4,500-pound vehicle that's a risk to everybody else. And so, I mean, these are very dangerous acts. These have potentially tragic outcomes, not only for the innocent driver that was struck by a round, but really by any vehicle traveling around that vehicle, were that vehicle to become driverless, for lack of a better term, and in control of itself. So,
And that goes for all 6, all of them were in motion? But there's
yes.
no one. clarify, the 48, that's including this 6?
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Since Wednesday, did you guys have any indication that it was somebody going on a random rampage?
No.
Did that be-
Well, no, but I think common sense would suggest we had a connectivity to 2, direct connectivity based on witness accounts to 2 of them. The timing of 3 others becomes, we can't ignore the timing of the 3 others. So did we concretely be able to prove that? No. Did we suspect it? Absolutely. I mean, this 6 shootings in the course of 2.5, 3 hours is unprecedented. Even we had an alarming increase in freeway shootings over the last several years. I mean, every year they seem to have crept up. Actually, this year, ironically, a little bit lower than they were last year. But every other year, year to date, the numbers are alarmingly increasing. But to have 6 in this short a time period is just unprecedented, and it caught everybody, A, by surprise, but it also provided the urgency by our entire staff to make this a priority and ensure that we didn't have any reoccurrence. And listen, I'm very fortunate I'm able to stand before you and say that because of the work of those 2 troopers last night, countless people we don't have to wonder what could have happened. So.
We saw the photo of that first one. Did all of the vehicles involved get struck by a bullet?
Every vehicle that I talked about has a bullet in it or bullets in it.
Any more photos may be available, just for visuals for us?
I can check, but I don't have them at this time because some of the witnesses are still in contact.
And I should have said at the beginning, this is based on information as we know it today. And it's the best information as we know it today. If anybody else was a victim of this series of incidents on Wednesday night, we want them to come forward. This behavior, 2 of the victims didn't call right away because one didn't discover, as I understand it, didn't discover the damage until the following day, and the other just didn't think it was important until they saw the press release. And so I shudder to think what could have happened, or how many other victims there may be out there that we just don't know about yet. So if there is anybody that feels they were a victim of this or any violent freeway crime, we want them to come forward and share those experiences with us, because we do take them seriously. We do investigate every lead to its logical conclusion, and we take these things very seriously. So, okay, thank you all.
Thank you.